Hey guys, hope all is well. We are in Halifax and Africville, about to launch. I've got Bob Chaulk with me here. And Bob, where are we going today?
Going to Tufts Cove in Halifax Harbour. Last year I ran across a couple of big anchors while I was diving out there, and I'm researching for a book about the explosion, and I think that those anchors must be from a ship called the Curaca, which was the ship in the Halifax Explosion that had the biggest loss of life, 49 people, and she ended up sunk over in Tufts Cove. So I wonder if these two anchors were lost when she went over there. They're in shallow water. The ship couldn't have gotten in that far, but there they are. And they're like 10 feet long, and so that was last year. I've been trying to get some decent visibility so I can get Sean here to come out and photograph them for me.
Yep.
And here we are. It's in late June or mid-June, and the viz is not getting any better, and the water's getting warmer, and of course warm water around here means poor visibility.
Right.
So this is probably the last chance. It's not a good chance, but well, you got to work with what you have.
Yep. All right, well, we're going to get in the boat, and then we're going to head straight over to Tufts Cove, and hopefully, Bob, we can get this done.
So it will be the same voyage. And the Stella Maris had the biggest loss of life of Nova Scotians in the explosion.
Okay.
19 men were lost on her. She was a tug, and it's the tug that stopped when the Mont Blanc set a fire. She was burning out in the Narrows before she blew up. The Stella Maris was heading up to the basin, towing two barges. She anchored the barges, turned around and went back, and the explosion happened and she got blown up. So I have figured out exactly the sequence of events for the Stella Maris, where she started from.
Yep. Is this going to be in your book?
Yeah.
And when's your book coming out again?
It's coming out this fall.
This fall?
It's going to be out around November.
November, okay. Yeah. And for people who can't wait for that, you've got some other books, right?
I do have some other books.
Yeah.
All about diving in the harbor.
Yep.
I have two other books that are currently available.
Okay.
One is called The Race to the Bottom.
I love that one.
It's about diving in Halifax.
I've read that 3 times. That's like my Bible.
All the good stuff I found over 30 years.
Yep.
And then my newest book is about the SS Atlantic, Atlantic's last stop. And so it's current right now and very readable, I hope. Lots of people are buying it and saying good things about it.
Well, I'm going to put the link in the description below in this video, guys. So if you're curious about that, I would highly recommend it.
And then this new one is going to be called The Dangerous Harbor.
The Dangerous Harbor.
Dangerous Harbor, because Halifax Harbor, throughout the decades and centuries, has been a dangerous place.
Yep.
And I have lots of examples of why I make that assertion. And the biggest one, of course, of all, was the explosion. But it was just one of many dangerous things that happen, losses of life, and so on.
See where that is there?
I'm just going to go up here.
Yep.
Actually, you know what? We'll probably go up there and change anyway.
Okay. So we're at the spot now where the anchors are, so I'm going to get my gear on. Bob's already almost suited up, and we're going to see if we can get this picture here. All right, I'm going to pop in and then see what we can get here.
Here we go.
anchors are huge.
They're massive, aren't they? You see both of them?
Both of them.
Yeah.
We're good.
Right there, they're that way.
Yep. So the anchors are just below me right here. Bob's about to get in. Visibility is pretty good. The tide is almost low. It's almost 3. It's gonna be fun.
The anchor. Yeah, see over there. Okay.
And while you're doing that, I might just pop to the shore, see what there is. And it's already running, so you're good to go. Okay, as you saw, we're all done now. We're out of the water. It's still low tide, and Bob's gracious enough to let me go explore one little place just while we're here, see if I can find some cool bottles while I'm at it and get some trash. I did find a couple bottles off camera down there. Some whiskey flask, a 7-Up. Those 7-Ups are everywhere. They have the lady on them. I think this one was bottled in Bridgetown, Nova Scotia. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. And then, yeah. So, do you feel good about that, Bob?
Yeah, that's great. I'm really delighted with the footage that you got.
Good.
You're the man when it comes to that stuff, huh?
Well, thanks. It's a lot of fun being out here. And the viz is better than I thought it was going to be. I know you can't really see anything right now, but when you kind of get close to shore, it's pretty nice.
Just for your viewers, this is where the railway bridge, there used to be a railway bridge across Halifax Harbour. In fact, there were two. The first one was lost in a hurricane, and the second one was lost on a high tide. It kind of lifted it up and moved it away. And it used to, this is where it came ashore. Well, it came ashore on the other side of those woods. If you look at the beach there, you see the different color in the rock?
Yeah.
On the right, you've got like sort of natural beachy looking stuff, and then over at the far left, you've got the same thing. But in the middle, that's where they filled in to build the railway bed.
Okay.
And then it came right across in front of us in the water, and then went off the point there, right around up onto where the power station is now.
Wow. That's a cool bit of history, Bob.
it's a very interesting piece of history. Those railway bridges, you know, the first time I learned about those, I thought, really? I never knew it. And the pictures, there are pictures of them, and well, of one of them, and it used to. It had, of course, ships still had to come and go, so it had a swing bridge right in the middle of the harbor where ships would go through, and that bridge was built by Star Manufacturing Company in Dartmouth, famous for their ice skates.
Okay.
So this was a little different from ice skates. Watch it, there's a lot of rocks here, and the water's very shallow.
Yep.
Low tide.
Well, I didn't.
So this, by the way, this is Tufts Cove, which used to be a Mi'kmaq settlement.
Okay.
This area here, and much of this land is still owned by the Mi'kmaq. And when the explosion came, they were wiped out. They had a school, number of houses just up here, just past, as I understand it, where the power station was.
So with those anchors, when I was down there, those were way bigger than I thought they were. Those things are massive.
They are big anchors.
So that explosion just chucked them across the harbor?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Although that's very possible. I never thought of that. But I just feel that they had to be from one of the ships. And the logical ship is the Curaca. But I just don't understand how they got there. I mean, you and I were standing on them at low tide. You know, that's like 6 feet of water. So they had to fly in. That's the thing. Because if they, you know, no ship that had an anchor that big could ever float in such a small amount of water.
Right.
So how did they get out there? You know, and then if you put them on a barge and went in to drop them overboard, first of all, why would you? They're perfectly good anchors. And B, the barge would run aground.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So they're just so big, you couldn't, like in a boat this big, you just couldn't carry them. They would probably sink the boat.
Right.
You know? And even if you didn't sink the boat, who's going to pick them up and drop them overboard? So it's just a really strange situation.
Yeah.
And it was the same way with the other anchor that we looked at last year. You know, it was right in there. It is right in there, still there.
Yep.
And that one makes sense for flying, and it makes sense that it came off of a vessel called the St. Bernard, which was a schooner.
Yep.
Because it was about the size of an anchor for a schooner, and she was right there. Right where that warship was tied up.
Yep.
That's where she was tied up, and that's where the explosion happened.
Okay. Right away, Bob, look at that. Right away, there's a bottle. Yep. That's it looks like a wine bottle, 1930s. Yep. That's the end of the dive today. Thanks again, Bob, for having me on.
Great pleasure.
Boat. Yeah, and we got some bottles out, which is good. And I left a couple on shore back in that cove for some curious beachgoers. So if you see any bottles there, feel free to take one. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.